Are you a leader or am I a leader?
Why can't we both be leaders?
Who's the better leader?
Yo. Yo.
Listen.
Me. It's me.
Chill. Why?
No, I'm kidding. It's you.
Why?
It's a trick question. Because if I say me, I'm not humble enough to be the leader. But if I say you, it's you. I think that's the right answer.
Ugh. Man's capping on G Wiz.
Well, what makes a good leader? And isn't that the equivalent of who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
Why you looking like you said something crazy, bro? Stop.
What you mean?
Stop. Just stop. I don't know why you're doing that.
So you're the one looking up to the sky, making it look like you're thinking about something.
Chill. I am. What if I am thinking about something?
What do you think about? Explain your thoughts.
I'm thinking that I think a lot of people want to be leaders because of the pride in themselves and the wanting of eyes looking at them and all the superficial things that comes with that. And then if that is the focus of being a leader, then you are on the wrong path, my brother. You know what Pastor Phil told me? He was like, if you're going into leadership in church for fame and fortune, you can go for anywhere else, bro. Like, go somewhere else for that stuff. Go somewhere else for attention, for honor, for fame. Go somewhere. You can find that stuff somewhere else way easier because over here you're going to be shoveling crap. And it's true. It's like, you know, a leader really is a servant, right? If you're leading anything that you're leading, you're just serving at, right? If you're a leader in so-and-so, it's because you're serving people, right? If you're a manager at a job, it's because you're serving people in that job, right? That's what leadership is. And it's mainly like, you know, who are examples of good leaders? Do you have an example of a good leader that you know? I've
had several good leaders in my life in all different aspects. I've had ministry leaders. I've had job leaders. Mm-hmm. I've had sports leaders. My coach when I was young was an excellent leader. Excellent leader.
No, I think the question is what are the general things that all those leaders possess that made them great leaders?
Well, if I were to break down my soccer coach, he was a man that always made sure to encourage us. Mm-hmm. He was well respected in the sense of like, if he spoke, everybody was listening. Everybody was like, so he disciplined. I remember this one time, he was all about sportsmanship. Yeah. And I loved playing FIFA. Okay. And so, you know, in FIFA, if you play FIFA, you can do these crazy celebrations after you score a goal. And after one of the games, we were up like 7-0, dude. Ugh. Like, it was a beatdown. We were crushing him. Okay. And then I ended up scoring a goal. And we had planned with like 5 of my friends on the team that we would do a FIFA celebration. Okay. The one where like the person that scores is the teacher and all the other ones sit down and they crisscross applesauce. No. And you just like lecture them. That's the goal celebration. It's a FIFA celebration. That's funny. So we did that. And keep in mind that me and my coach were really close. Like, we were friends. Like, we've been to barbecues together. Like, it'd been years since he was my coach, so I was always friendly. I have never seen the side of him. He pulled us out of the game so fast and yelled at us. I had never seen him raise his voice. And he was like, you do not do that. You do not do that. He's like, you guys are up 8-0, and you had to rub it in their face even more by doing a whole celebration. He's like, no, you're done. You're done for the game. I was like in shock. I was like, I got
disciplined so fast.
I had never seen that side of him. So I was like, well, what just happened? I was like, all right, like, my bad. Bro, never again. Never again am I doing that celebration. Never again.
A harsh rebuke, man.
Never
it's
again.
So
and you know what's funny is I'm a soccer coach now, and my kids don't celebrate. They celebrate together. Yeah, but they don't do any obnoxious crazy things to the other team. Huh. And so definitely discipline. He was well respected. All the parents loved him. All the soccer players on his team always spoke very highly of him. He was great at soccer in general. Like he almost went pro. So he knew what he was talking about. He was skilled.
That's how you respect, yeah.
And he was committed. Like, he did not miss a single practice. He was always our coach. Like, you know, he always had things ready, prepared. He was an excellent coach. Excellent coach. I will always remember him as a soccer coach. And now that I'm coaching, I take after a lot of the things that he did for our team when I was young.
Yeah, there's just so much for that. Like there's so much for like, you know, what makes a good leader. I remember in Proverbs it says like I'm paraphrasing it because like when a bad person becomes king, the people groan.
Yes.
Right. But like when a good person becomes king, everyone's happy. And it's like, you know, and there's so much examples of leadership in the Bible, right? You talk about Moses, David, Saul, Solomon. You see these people in leadership positions and like what made them love people, right? Like for David, right? The people love David, right? There's one time one of his people got murdered, and so he was like grieving it, and they saw he did the whole thing, put like dirt on his face, like on his head and everything, and people saw him grieving, so they were like, wow. And it said in the Bible that they loved his action and that they loved all of his actions. They loved all that he did, like everything that he did, they just loved it. And it was like, why? It's because David was honest. He was honest. He was after God's own heart. He was this, like, you know, we see how awesome of a king Solomon was. But then when you read about Solomon, it says like Solomon wasn't even as good as his father David. He was wise, but he didn't have the same heart David had, because David was repentant. He did all this. He was he was a man after God's own heart, right? But it says that in Solomon, like Solomon was not as great as his father David, because his heart wasn't the same as his, right? So it's like when it comes to leadership, it's like, it's really dependent on the character of the person, right? Because you see Saul, if you compare Saul, right, and David, like Saul was, you know, dishonest. He was impatient, all these different things. Yet David was like compassionate. He was repentant. He was God fearing. He was God loving. And so like the character difference really is what makes a leader that people love, right? And even more about that, because again, I'm talking about it a lot. You know, his son Absalom, like he was able to gather a bunch of people together to like go against David. And it's like, how are those people so easily like allow themselves to let someone lead them that was incorrect, that was bad leader. Right. And it's like weird how I think we just, you know, we naturally give ourselves to someone or give ourselves to a thing, right? Of course, like when it comes to idolizing. And I think we need to find good examples so that we can be good examples, right? We need to find people that we respect and say, wow, these people, I like what he does. I want to be like him. Not because I want to be, like, I don't want to be myself, but because I like what he does and how he lives. So it's like we have to find a good example to be a good example to people.
But I think with that, there comes the issue of your own personal opinion of the type of person that you want to be. For example, I think if you look at social media, there is a ton of leaders. Yeah. Right? Just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean you hold truth. And so, you know, when you were talking about Absalom and why did so many people follow him? Right? And then in history, you see all these great leaders that were able to accumulate a ton of people to basically do whatever they wanted them to do. And so what about them made it so that all these people would just follow blindly? Or not even blindly, but just follow them and really, truly believe every word they were saying. And so I think there's a lot of different leadership out there. Yeah. But a lot of it is very misguided. A lot of it is like trying to play at your heartstrings to get you to do what they want you to do.
It's like, because, you know, I know for many people that listen in, they have, I think some people, you know, including me and you, like, you know, we're in some sort of leadership position. But I think for me, right, just my experience when it comes to being in, like, first of all, like, even saying it, like, bro, like, no one cares. You know what I mean? If you're in a leadership position, like, bro, like, who cares about having eyes on you, right? Like, who really cares? Like, stop caring about that. It's just so, like, that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, we think that leadership, well, of course we have eyes on us, right? But if you really care so much about the eyes that are on you and you do it for that reason, it's not about that. It's about influence, you know? Like people that are in leadership positions, they have influence. And if anything, that's scary.
Yeah.
Because people, either if you want it or not, they're going to mimic you, you know? And it's like, and again, forget the pridefulness of that. Forget the like the puffing up, like, ooh, people are going to mimic me. No, like they're going to mimic you, you know, in the bad and the good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's something I've learned with that. It's just, you know, I just feel like people that are really good leaders are being led by God. The 100%, like 1,000,000,000%. Like they're giving their all to God. They're focused. They're this. And as they're in that focus and as they're in that submission to the Lord, it's like, if people want to join in and follow them, they do it. But they're not doing it. I feel like people that are leaders are not doing it so they can be, you know, so people can like in a prideful way that they can follow them. But just like, I'm following God,
right?
And God wants to use me to help people follow him, you know? And so it's like, the pride needs to go away. It needs to go away. And it needs to be an authentic, like, yo, I love God. And out of this love for God, and out of God leading me, God can use me to lead people in the most healthiest way possible, you know?
I mean, I would like to narrow down to what are the sides of being a leader? You know, all right, so me and Lewis have been leaders at our church in different ways for a couple of years now. We're super young, so leadership, you know, we don't want to sit here and talk about leadership as if we've been doing it
for 30 years.
For 30 years, 50 years. We know what it's like to lead people, because truly we don't, and we've gotten a small taste of what it is. But fortunately, we've been blessed with the opportunity to lead people, even in times that we didn't even notice we were leaders. Yeah. We were like, oh, shoot, people are mimicking us, or people are looking up to us, or people are coming up to us for advice. And it's like, oh, that's how they view me. Yeah. Oh, shoot, that's a little scary.
For example, like this one time, so instead of, you know, just trying to not to curse, right? I would say B word instead of like the actual word. Maybe that's not good. I'm sorry. I'm being honest. And so I would say that on occasion. But then one of my friends, well, Nico, he comes up to me, he's like, yo, one of our youth just said, like, one of the youth's parents told him that his kid said, yo, my teacher is such a B word. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm like, oh, all right, interesting.
Oh, shoot.
So it's like, yeah, like, you know what? I don't realize that. And so, of course, that's like a little like, okay, wake up. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, be careful.
I bet you stopped using that real fast.
I definitely did. I was more aware. I was like, wow. Because that I would never think. I didn't think they heard me. I was like, I was not around when I said that. Or maybe I was. I don't know. So it's just like, in what you said, like, we have a little bit of that experience, you know, not like 30 years, but from what we have experienced, it's like, okay, yeah, like, let me relax. Yeah. You know, that's just one example.
I mean, it's so funny because with leadership, a lot of people, like you talked about in the beginning, desire the leadership position.
Even in the word, it says, you know, don't let a new believer, don't put them in a leadership position because they might become like, you know, conceited and stuff. And it's like, well, that's true. Like, there should be a you know, you should, like, we want to encourage that. We want to encourage leaders to people to, like, you know, take ownership and you know, do bigger things and push them in those positions. But then it's like, man, like, it's just so easy to like be conceited. It's so easy to be like,
yes, bro,
I'm that guy. Goodness. Like, I'm that guy. I'm preaching. I'm doing this. I'm talking. Everyone's looking at me. Ooh, it's so easy. I remember this one pastor, Francis Chan. He was on this. He went on stage and he was like, I pray every time I get on this stage because this stage is like poison. I was like, huh. He's like, every time I get on the stage, it's like poison because you see these crowds, you see these people, and like sometimes you don't want to say something because it might displease people. It might make people leave. And it's like, God, every time I get on this stage, help me to speak your truth, what you want to say, not what I want to say, not for my agenda, but for your agenda, all this stuff. I'm just like, oof. And I feel like that's so real. Yeah. That stage can be anything, can be a poison that makes you feel like you're puffed up, that you're better, that you're this, that you're that. And it's like, and it's funny, I've been seeing that everywhere where it's just like, no, like it's not like that. You know?
Well, so I wanna break down really quickly that verse that you just brought up about do not put new believers in leadership. What constitutes a new believer? Because I want to know, you know, I want to just pick your brain from the experience that you've had and in the leadership that you've been in. If you were to be leading your own ministry, how do you decide if somebody is fit for leadership or not?
That's good. I think it has to be something that a decision you make over time as you see someone, right? You can't just be like, "Oh, they look good. Let's get them on." You know what I mean? I think it's like, Pastor Phil's way of like being able to recognize a person that could be, that could be in leadership is the person has to be fat, right? They have to be faithful, available, and teachable. And so if you see a person that is faithful, they always show up, right? That's how you recognize people a lot when they show up a lot. And I've seen that I've seen that in just in youth, where it's like the kids that show up a lot, they're faithful, and then available. It's like they're available to hear what's going on, they're available to be a part and be a part of what's happening. And then teachable. It's like they listen to what, either I or other leaders say, and they actually think about that and they apply it and they say, wow, this is interesting. You know what I mean? So like those three things, I feel like over time, you're like, you can recognize who is really seeking God and who's on fire for Jesus, like you see that. And I feel like I have examples right now where I see a bunch of the youth. I see a bunch where I know by name those who are on fire because I see them being open. They want to do more. I see them doing things, telling me things about what they do at school, how they're just on fire and they want more. Like they want to do more things. I'm like, whoa. Okay, like let me. God help me fan the flame.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm just thinking about your story with the whole B word thing. Do you think you might have been put in a leadership position too early that caused that? Or do you think that was just something that you needed to go through to realize your influence?
Well, I feel like in terms of a leadership position, I guess I was kind of put in one after high school, after graduating, which I don't think is the most terrible thing, because I feel like when it comes to a leadership position, it's not like, if you're just being a leader, like volunteer leader at like a youth or something, it is true. You need to watch yourself, but it's like, I'm not perfect, man. You know what I mean? Like God is walking with me, and I feel like God walks with all of us. But I think even more than ever, because of all those things, because of that, those little corrections, and I think we have to embrace moments that cause us to feel whack. Because even talking on Wednesday, this past Wednesday with our group, we were just talking about how, all these refining, sharpening, whack times, there's always gold to be found in it. And so I think any time of like correction, rebuking, things that you've done wrong, there's always some sort of gold in it that you find. And I feel like a lot of things have kind of caused me to learn, for me to recognize, like, what am I putting my foot down on and what am I not putting my foot down on? Because if I don't put my foot down on this thing when I'm around people, that they won't. And I feel like that's so scary, because it's like, dang, like I want to do better. If I'm not putting my foot down in this scenario, like in this situation, and people see that, they think, oh, I don't have to do that either. I don't have to put my foot down either. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh, like what if I know I need to put my foot down on this, but I don't because I'm still struggling with it. But then people see me not put my foot down. It's really weird.
I think that's one side of leadership that a lot of people do not realize. A lot of people desire, like you said, that the leadership position because of the influence. Yeah. It feels good. Of course it feels good. I remember, once again, going back to the soccer, when the team first started, I was put as team captain. And
team captain, ugh.
Yeah, don't be hating. Don't be hating.
Danny putting a team captain at a young age. Ugh.
I was a great team captain. But
let yourself not praise yourself by your own lips, but by others.
So I guess I gotta bring my ex-soccer team players to testify. No, but the year after that, I had brought my new friend on the team.
Okay.
He played for a year, and he ended up becoming team captain.
Cool.
So I stepped down, and I guess we switched it out, and he was team captain. To me, that was a very interesting move.
Okay.
Because I was like, yo, this new guy that I brought is now a team captain where I was. Obviously, I was young. I was prideful.
A little humbling, yeah.
Very humbling. By the way, soccer humbled me in incredible ways. You have no idea.
God definitely used that.
You have no idea. You know what? I want to tell this fun story. I don't know if I've ever told this fun story of me and how I met my best friend. But So growing up, I played soccer since I was in preschool, and I killed, bro. Okay. Like, I don't know what my mom fed me, but I was an animal on the field.
A rose comb polo,
bro. I was an animal on the field, bro.
Okay.
All the parents were chanting my number, like they were like gassing me up all the time. They're like, "Yo, this, that." They're like, "The next Messi," like they're going crazy, right? Then 4th grade comes along. I had not lost a single game in my entire life until this point.
Oof. Prideful, Danny, bro.
Dude, you could imagine.
How could you not be? Yeah.
You could imagine where my pride was. You could imagine where my pride was. Because I had not lost a game. All the parents were gassing me up. All my teammates were like, yo, like before games, they'd be like, just pass it to Danny. Just pass. Bro, my pride is through the roof. I'm this, how old was that? That's probably 8 years old. I'm this 8-year-old that has been gassed up to a whole other level.
Yeah.
Here comes along this team.
Okay.
They're not even known as like the first place team, second. They were just like in the middle of the bracket. Like they're just like an okay team.
Interesting.
Bro, they whooped us. I had never lost a game in my life. I'm down 4-5-0.
Ugh. So
you could imagine me on the field. I'm trying to go ham, but I'm stumbling on the ball. I'm tripping because I'm full frustration.
Yeah.
Full frustration. And at one point, I trip over the ball so bad that I fall face flat and I just start crying. Like, I don't get up. I just start crying. I didn't want anybody to see me cry. But when I tell you crying, I mean fully crying. Because the game was almost over and it was 5-0, brother. I was going to lose it. So this is going to be my first match I ever lost. And then here comes along my best friend, Frazier. I had never known him. Like, this is how I met him.
Yeah.
He comes and he taps me on the shoulder and he picks me up and he sees me crying. He's like, yo, it's all right, bro. Like, I've got you. It's okay. Like, he just picked me up. He said, like, we got this. Like, it's just a game. Like, we're going to have a good time. And ever since, like, you know, a relationship started forming there.
No
but
way.
My best friend was the first one to give me a loss on the soccer field.
Freaking what, 10-year friendship?
Bro, humbling moment.
Wow.
Humbling moment. I mean, that was a sidetrack story, but yeah. I hope somebody got something out of that. But
wow.
With leadership, people just crave it. Mm-hmm. People crave the attention. People see other people in positions of leadership and they only see the good stuff. You are never going to look at a leader and see like, oh, he's going through this and he went through that. Yeah. And to get to where he is, he had to do that.
Like if you grabbed a bunch of random people and put them in a room, or let's say like maybe even let's say an escape room, right?
Yeah.
If you put a bunch of random people in that room, one person will rise up and start leading. You know, like one person will, 100%. Yes. Yeah. You know, they will, all right, guys, let's figure this out, right? And it's funny because in those situations, we can have it's so easy. Like our eyes instantly start catching this. We're like, we start saying to ourselves, you know, why this guy? Why is he so? Well, what's so special about him?
Yeah.
Why is he leading us? I could do what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, we start thinking about him. We start looking at the eyes that are on him. We start seeing the attention he's getting, the respect he's getting. Like, wow, this guy is so smart. And we're like, I could have been that guy. I could have been. You know, and it's just like, oof. And that is such a real thought. Yeah, I've definitely had that thought before. And it's just, it's so a real, authentic, like, you know, you just start thinking like, I want that respect. And, you know, I could be that first. I can do that. You know, I can do what he's doing right now. But then it's like, there's a verse in James. Let me get it. There's a verse in James that talks about, you know, what happens when you have jealousy or envy and everything. And let me see, where is it? It says, and where selfish ambition and jealousy lie, so will every vile practice. You know, and so it's like when you have like a mindset of like jealousy and selfish ambition, where like, you know, selfish ambition meaning you want to like do things for yourself. You want to get that position so you can be seen. Or when you're jealous and seeing people in position and you are jealous and you want that, and this jealousy, this anger, this frustration starts like rising up in you, you're going to do dumb things. You know, you're not going to have the right fuel, the right gas to do what God wants you to do. You know what I mean? And so true. It's like, hey, like that's what I'm saying, man, like stop. You know what I mean? Like stop it. Like if God wants to rise someone up for something, he will.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he will do it. Like if God wants, like for example, there's one story of like this woman giving food away and starting this whole thing with her friend, doing it for a while. And then, you know, that simple, like her and her friend giving out food to people turned into like a big thing. You know, people, it's just like something worldwide, I think, just something huge. right? And so the whole thing with that is that, you know, God will rise you up whenever he wants to. You know what I mean? And you will get that whenever you want, whenever he wants. So it's not really about that. It's about like, can God trust you with that? You know?
Yeah.
Are you faithful in the little? Because that's all that matters, right? Are you faithful with the little? Like, you know, do you, you know, want to be a pastor of a 10,000 people church? How about you pastor like your friends? How about you pastor like the youth group you're in? You know what I mean? Like do that first and be faithful in the little. Just how David was pastoring his sheep before he pastored Israel, right? It's like be faithful in the little stuff. And in that, like, God sees how you are in this moment. Because it's not like, you know, it's funny. Like, it's not like when you are in a leadership position, you're going to act completely different. You're the same person. You know what I mean? Like, whenever, like, let's say a person gets, I don't know, promoted to something, some sort of, like, more responsibility, this and that, you don't just change. You're the same person. You know what I mean? And so you bring your character into that position. So God is like, hey, I'm not going to put you in a place where you're going to start being conceited, start being this or being that. Like, I want you to, you know, have the character to where you can be in this position and also help people out. And because I've seen your faithfulness in the little. Right. So it's just like, we need to understand that. It's not about having eyes on us. It's not about the coolness of seeing eyes on us. It's really about it's about God leading you, you know?
Yeah. Because not everybody was made for leadership. Not everybody was built for that. And that's okay.
And not everyone wants to, you know?
Exactly. And the thing is, a lot of people will see leadership as like a person in leadership as better or higher than somebody else. But in everything that we do, you need a leader. In your job, you need a manager. In soccer, you need a coach. In a business, you need the CEO. In a family, you need the father. You need a leader in every aspect of your life. But not all of us are made to be CEOs. Not all of us are made to be fathers. Not all of us are made to be the coaches. Some of us, you need a soccer player. Imagine if you only had coaches. You need a soccer team. For people that will actually play. And so, you know, I believe that leadership is something that you're called to. It's not something that you just drag yourself into.
Yeah. Because again, we think about like the pastors that preach every Sunday. It's like, wow, they have so many eyes on them. Dude, if that pastor didn't have the people, didn't have, you know, the prayer team, the worship team, the people that like, you know, the people that help, you know, in the offices or whatever, like all the people that you don't see, the people that you do not see in the church, that church would not work. You know what I mean? Like, sure. Like for example, a long time ago, we talked about how, you know, the church is the body of Christ. And how important is your face compared to your heart? Yeah, you see my face way more, but you don't see my heart. But my heart is the only thing keeping me alive. You know, it is the one muscle that if it stops, I'm done, right? But you don't see it, but you see my face. My face gets all the glory, but my face is nothing compared to my heart. You know, so it's like in that aspect too, it's without everyone else, without the whole body, it doesn't work. You know, so we can't like allow that to be like, oh, they get more. No, it's not about that. You know, if anything, you know, you don't, like you said, you don't know what's going on in their mind and their life.
For me, see, the whole idea of figuring out who you could possibly put into leadership interests me, because I have seen ministries not do well because the leadership was not good. Ministries and businesses, families, anything. If the leader is not good, it just crumbles down.
How do you choose the right person? Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. And so I've actually given this a lot of thought, because I really find it dangerous to put people in leadership that should not be in leadership, especially when it comes to ministry, because we're talking about God's people here. We're talking about people that you are going to influence. And there is nothing stronger than somebody's like hope and somebody's belief in truth. And so if you misguide them, you can potentially hurt them really, really bad. And so for me, it was really interesting to see, okay, why should this person be in leadership and why shouldn't this person be in leadership, and what characteristics do they have? And ultimately it comes down to what you just said. You mentioned the faithful, available, and teachable.
Yes.
But you can have somebody that consistently shows up, that consistently participates, And sure, they could be in a moment of teaching where they're receiving, but if they're at the bottom and they're starting to receive, the verse just said, do not put new believers in there. Because new believers have not yet had the heart transformation fully. I mean, we don't always fully have it, but the heart transformation enough to be in leadership or the renewing of their mind.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of new believers that are on fire for Jesus. And they've been put in leadership too early. And yes, there's a lot of learning experiences, and yes, they're going to grow in it and they're going to make mistakes, but then they're going to learn from it. That's good, but I think we need to, as people choosing leaders, minimize the possible damage and give them the time to renew their mind
to receive.
And to receive.
Because we talk about Jesus
100%.
started his ministry at
33, man.
33 years old. 33. And it's like, man, like we're over here like, 20 and we're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's like, sit down,
Yeah. Like enjoy God's presence.
Enjoy God's presence,
like,
receive.
Renew your mind, transform your heart.
And it's like, it's not like, right, like be the preacher that walks with a limp, right? Let your preaching like be way shorter than your devotion, like, right? Like be the preacher that walks with a limp. Like it's not, So no, I was gonna say that for me, forming a relationship with somebody that you're about to make into a leader is extremely important. Oh, for sure.
That's my personal opinion. I think leaders that are looking to pick other people to be a part of their team need to form close relationships with these people.
Yeah.
And see how they are at home, how they are with their friends. Are they involved in any drama? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? To see, hey, is this a person that is strong? Like, yes, I've seen them show up all the time. And yes, they seem like they're on fire for Jesus. Let me make sure their heart is in the right position, because on a plane, when there's an accident, the first thing they tell you to do is put on your own mask before you help anybody else.
Yeah. Yep.
And sometimes we tend to put leaders in that have not put on their own mask yet and want to help everybody else. And that's great that you want to help everybody else, but you need to work on your heart first before you are put in a position of leadership.
Yeah, 100%.
And that doesn't just go for everybody. But the reason we wanted to talk about this is because God is raising up a lot of strong leaders in every aspect. I mean, we've been looking around, and it's like in our church, we just went to a winter retreat, and we saw other churches, and it's like there was a lot of leaders coming together. And so it was really interesting to see, like, wow, God rose a lot of leaders here.
Yeah.
But then there's the pressure of, oh shoot, I'm a leader. I have influence. People are looking at me. People are mimicking people that are younger than me. Dude, at the retreat, I even had people older than me coming to me for advice. And it's like, what if I wasn't led by the Spirit and they're coming to me with asking for advice? And I gave it to them.
Yeah.
But I'm not led by the Spirit. I'm in a moment where my heart's not in a good place. My mind's not in a good place. And I'm leading people. And so that pressure, people don't realize that side of leadership of, dude, I had this moment a few months ago. I don't know if I've talked about it, but it was this moment where I was so tired of the pressure of being held to that high standard of a leader. Probably because I wanted to do my own thing, But I was just like, and I don't want this to sound prideful, but I have been put in leadership positions since I was like really young. And I'm not talking about, they didn't make me a pastor at 8 years old. I'm talking about even in small groups, in classroom work, in projects or anything. I was that kid that would rise up and be like, all right, guys, like, let's do this and let's do that. And how about we do this? Then I was made team captain. And then I was the director of my drama club, like when I was in middle school. And so like, I had always been put in positions of leadership, I guess because people saw it in me. And so I had always been held to this standard of a leader for the majority of my life. And so a few months ago, I hit this point where I was just mad, bro. I was just mad because I was like, dude,
I don't care, man.
Exactly. That feeling of, bro, I don't care anymore, because if somebody that's not a leader and doesn't have influence messes up, nobody really has to know.
Yeah, no one cares.
No, you tell one person, you tell two people. But when you're in leadership, even if the majority don't see it,
Yeah.
You have the obligation as a leader to bring light into it, or else you're going to take down the whole thing.
That's good. That's good. It's true.
Right? And
True.
so as a leader, there's always that really heavy pressure of, shoot, I can't even curse once, because if I do, this kid's going to start saying that at the youth group. You know, if one of the kids slip up and say a curse word, you just yell at them, say, hey, don't speak like that. Who's going to hold you accountable? You know, there's other leaders at youth group, but if you slip up, that's a way bigger deal than if they slip up.
Of course, they're like, whoa, ooh, wow, why'd you say that? Oh my God, yeah.
And this is talking about just like, you know, the small things, but I mean, some people struggle really hard with cursing.
Yeah.
But in other aspects, like you said, we're not perfect. But sometimes that burden of leadership, of like, I need to be perfect, comes into play. And it gets heavy, bro.
Yeah.
It gets heavy. And I got to a point where I was so frustrated and I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't want to be a leader. Can I just be normal? Can I just like mess up and not feel this crazy, disgusting conviction where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did something so bad. Like, what are the in the fire people going to think? What are my church people going to think? What are my friends going to think? My family? Like, all because I like drank a little bit too much and I got drunk. And then I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my gosh. And so like that conviction felt annoying. And I was like, dude, I don't want to feel this conviction anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do whatever I want and live freely without that heavy pressure of being a leader.
Yep.
But slowly God started to reveal to me that that standard was actually beautiful. Being in leadership, yes, it was a heavy burden and it was pressure.
Yeah.
But it was also almost like thorns on the side of me to make sure I was on the right path. Because if I wasn't in leadership positions and I didn't have that influence and that pressure and that conviction, maybe I would have went doing more crazy stuff. But because I had those thorns on the side, and yes, they sucked and they hurt, and they're like, bro, I just want to do whatever I want. But it kept me on this narrow path of like towards righteousness, towards holiness. And it's helped me out a lot. And so I do not regret being placed in positions of leadership.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, yes, it can get heavy, but it's helped me live more righteously. Because it's put that pressure of like, you're leading people. You need to be right. You know, and I've talked about it with this podcast. It doesn't feel right for me to be separate from God for even a week and then come on here and talk and do an episode and be like, God loves you and Jesus loves you and you need to be righteous. You need to stop doing that. And, you know, you can do this and you can do that. You need to read your Bible. We talk about it all the time. Be surrounded by good people. Read your Bible. Pray, worship, abide. And then I'm not abiding.
We just have no moral authority.
Like, is the Spirit of God even speaking through me if I haven't been abiding with him the whole week? And I come on here almost like, as if I was a hypocrite.
It's like, God's like, stop, dude, stop. Go do it yourself first.
Go do it yourself first. Wow. Yeah. And so leadership is something interesting. And I think the reason we chose this episode was for several different, mostly for us too. Yeah. We kind of had this, I mean, do you want to talk about your reflection that you've had the past like 2 weeks about leadership?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just, you know, of course, I think a final thought was just like, I went to this church and it was a small group and I went there as like, you know, I went there as observant Lewis, I guess. And I was just in a mode of like just watching whatever. And as I watch, I just see a lot of things happen. I see people encourage each other. I see people share that they want to get baptized. I see people screaming for that. I see everyone screaming and encouraging one another, encouraging this one person that's going to get baptized. I see as they share the word, revelation happening as they share the word. I see everyone like wanting to participate and say something. And then a person saying something and everyone be like, whoa, my bad. You're so smart. It's just even seeing that. Seeing so much of this like authentic togetherness and unity. And also just like at the end when they're praying for each other, you know, people want to get prayer for this and that. And so, you know, the people that need prayer go in the middle and then everyone starts praying for them. And then someone's getting prayed for in the corner and then everyone's just praying for each other and boom, boom, boom. And then it's like so beautiful. And then I'm pretty sure this is the case for everyone where like after every single young adult service, they want to go get some food. And so they even go and do that, right? And so after being there, right, I just kind of see, I don't know, I just start thinking a lot. Cause I'm like, you know what? That's so awesome. Like, this is so amazing. This is so beautiful. You know, how can I bring this into my young adult service, you know, into the young adult service that I serve in? You know, like, how can, like, I like this, you know, not to compare, but like, I like that. I like what's going on here. I see the Spirit moving. I see the Spirit moving. And so I just start reflecting so much. I start thinking about the leadership. I think about this one guy, the one guy who's kind of like the big leader there. And I don't know him very well, but I've heard how wise he is, how passionate he is. He's a drummer. He's this, you know, he's all this stuff. He has a family. And I see, like, I just start thinking about leadership in general, where I'm like, yo, you know, he's like, you know, the top leader there. And then how he is, that just trickles down to the young adult leaders. And then they trickle down into the attendees. And so it's like, however the main guy is, he's going to be an example for the young adult leaders. And then the young adult leaders are going to be an example for the attendees. And so it's like a trickling down of, like, it's like a triangle, right? Like, on top is a leader, like boom, boom, boom. It's like a triangle aiming down. And it's just like, wow. And I was just thinking so much about that. And then talking to my pastor and saying how, you know, the Spirit of God is not taught, but it's caught, right? And so it's like being there in that atmosphere, you know, stirring something in my heart, recognizing leadership in that aspect. The only reason, you know, and seeing all that, it's so funny. He told me, like, that a year before, if you look at that church, a year before, they were extremely dry. You know, they were super, super dry. And it's like, but the reason that, you know, I see the fruit of what's going on in that church is because they were hungry for God. They were hungry, you know, and that's what he told me. They were hungry. And it says in the Beatitudes that blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled, right? And so it's like, blessed are those who hunger and thirst, because they will be filled. And so it's like, wow. And it made me think about how much effect I've had, you know, and how much, you know, whether you like it or not, if you have been in leadership or are put in leadership, you have an effect on people. And you do, you know, how you are, how you speak, what you do, you have an effect. And if you don't take responsibility for your actions, like, sure, if you don't, you don't, but you're still going to have an effect on people, and you might not like that, you know? So I kind of just kind of looked back and saw myself and saw how effect I've had, and just recognizing where I'm at, what I'm doing, and how much of a leader I want to be. A real, authentic, true leader, not like a, you know, I don't know, a fake one. Like, I want to be real. I want God to move through me, for them to move through people. And that can be a tough battle, right? Because the enemy comes for those who, you know, God wants to use. And especially if you're seeking more of God, the enemy is now seeking you more, you know? So it's like, it's a battle. Yeah. But recognizing it is super important, and people need to recognize it, you know? So
I think especially the young people in ministry.
Yes, 1,000%.
I think they should 100%, and I think everybody in ministry should do this, but especially the young people that are put in leadership positions.
Yeah.
Don't be hungry for, I want to preach, I want to speak, I want to lead. Because a lot of us have been put in positions of leadership without seeking them. They were kind of just like, you know, we just had that characteristic in us, and they're like, yo, you're a strong leader. Can you do this? Sure.
Yeah.
But I think people like us, like speaking to us, we need to be hungry and thirsty for God and the things that he has.
Yeah.
And from there, like we've talked about the overflow so many times, but
flows out. Yeah.
It'll overflow into the people that we're leading.
Yep.
Let us not be hungry for
the attention.
I have to get this many followers, and I gotta get this many views, and my sermon has to be this level, and I gotta, get as much knowledge as I can. Like, I know for us, sometimes we get trapped into the desire of knowledge.
Yes.
And like, I want to read my Bible, but because you want to abide with God, or because you want the knowledge?
Yeah, because you want to know things.
For me, I'm gonna be honest, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I hear even you speak sometimes, and I'm like, yo, he has so much Bible knowledge. That's so cool. And it puts pressure on me to be like, I want to read my Bible, but not because I want to be with God, but because I want to
know more.
I want to know more so that I can keep up with you, or even beat you sometimes. Like, these are the negative things that happen in my heart that the enemy uses to even with God things.
Even pervert God things. Yeah.
Even pervert God things. And so people in leadership, young
check your
people,
heart. Check your heart, I think.
Check your heart.
The biggest thing. The
100%.
biggest thing. Check your heart. Where's your heart? Is your heart given to other things? Is your heart wanting other things? It's just like, it's so real, man, when it says protect your heart from your life flows from it. Your life flows from your heart, man. And it's so true. What are your intentions? Why are you doing what you do? Are you doing something because you want to be, there's just so many things you can think, like so many things you can ask yourself. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do this? And be honest, like, I want to serve God. No, you don't. You want people to see you. It's like, why do you want to do what you want to do? Think about your actions. Why am I doing this right now? Is it because I want God, or is it because I want to be next to someone? You know what I mean? It's like, just think about that. Like, guard your heart, for your life flows from it.
Wow.
It's so facts. It's just so facts. Guard your heart, man. Let your heart not be given to a person or this or that, like, or a thing. Give your heart to God first, so that it can be, and just in general, like, give your heart to God first. Like, it needs to be given to God, not to people. Like, nothing can take that throne. Nothing can sit in that throne in your heart. So,
a strong leader is the one whose heart is fully focused.
Yeah, fully given to God.
Fully given to God. That leader?
I think David was a great leader. David messed up, but his heart was given to God. His heart was. Even Solomon's heart wasn't. David's heart was. He was repentant. He loved God. He was sorry for what he did, and he was that. He was a good leader too. He was a great king. Great, great commander.
But he was named one of the greatest kings.
Yeah, greatest kings that ever lived. Yet, he messed up, but like, his heart was for him. His heart was for God. So, where's your heart?
So it's not about perfection. It's just
about your heart, man. Right? It's about David being faithful with the sheep, that he can be like, this is so stupid, it doesn't even matter. But it mattered, and he made it matter. And so God was like,
the little things.
It's like, who cares about these little sheep?
Bro,
I want to imagine, it's like, I don't care about the sheep. I want to care about the people, God. Isn't that what you want? God's like, no. Be faithful in this, so.
And he probably gave it to his best ability.
Yep.
He was probably the best sheep pastor there ever was.
He said with his own hands, he killed bears and lions. He was like, no, like, when one sheep got away, he would go and kill a lion, kill a bear, just to get that sheep back. So God's like, oof, I like that.
God's like, I think that guy's a good leader. Boom. Let him be king of all Israel and be named one of the greatest kings of all time. What?
Crazy.
David never expected that.
Nope.
But hey, I hope a lot of you guys got some awesome encouragement from this.
100%.
You leaders out there, this was for you. You people that want leadership, this was for you. And if you are led by someone, this is for you to know
100%.
Who am I following?
Yep.
You don't want to just follow blindly. I've seen a lot of people just like look on the internet and like see Andrew Tate speak. And that's one aspect of a good leader, somebody that is very well spoken, somebody that speaks really, really well, grabs attention instantly. If they are able to articulate themselves and speak in powerful ways and sound convincing, anybody's going to follow them. And so Andrew Tate speaks very great. He speaks like super powerfully, emotionally,
confident. This guy knows what he's talking about.
And so I'm not here. This is not an Andrew Tate episode where I'm going to say he's a bad leader or he's a good leader. All I'm saying is be careful who you follow and who you have as an example for your life.
Love that.
Ultimately, Jesus should be all of our leaders that we want to be like him.
But of course, we have people in front of us. This is how Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. So it's going to be those Pauls that we have in our life. So actual Pauls in our life, I want to see that. Though,
so look at the people that are leading you. Check their hearts if you can. What are your intentions? How's your personal life? Like all of that. And see, am I being led by a good person? But anyways, we love you guys. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know down in the comments what kind of episodes you guys want, what topics you guys want us to cover. We appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe right now. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Leave a like. We love you. Check the Patreon. We appreciate you. And we'll see you on the Patreon and next episode. Peace out, everybody.